So right about now, it's time for this segment where we have queens in studio with us who are doing amazing stuff. To the queens who are I don't want to say less fortunate, but who are considered weak in the society, and they're trying to uplift these queens out there in the society. They're from the Africa Youth Trust.
Youth Trust.
Yes, Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
So you can start by introducing yourself.
My name is Stephanie Ndiku, Project Manager at Africa Youth Trust.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
I'm called Winfred Okumu, Project Assistant, Access to Justice.
Access to Justice.
Yes.
All right. So what do you do for the trust again?
I act as the project manager. Maybe I can start off by introducing the organization. Africa Youth Trust is a non-partisan development organization which was formed back in 2005, and we exist to harness the energies of the youth towards productive peace, prosperity, and equity within communities in Africa and also locally in Kenya. Yes.
So it's regional. And also
it's national, regional, and continental.
So you have offices across Africa?
Yes, we have different organizations that we partner with, which are within our network that we work with to promote our agenda in Africa.
Powerful.
Yes.
All right. So you talked about your role.
My role is I coordinate access to justice.
Access to justice.
Yeah. Basically, access to justice, we are dealing with survivors of gender-based violence, whereby we're using the SMS platform, that is 21094. In case of sexual and gender-based violence, you can just SMS, and therefore from there you can get medical, psychosocial, and legal process so that you can be assisted.
All right. Yeah. So there's a hotline.
Yes.
Interesting. So you've incorporated technology in your work.
Yes.
And in curbing this vice. All right. So maybe you can share with them the hotline first before we can talk more about it.
The SMS platform is 21094. You just SMS the word help, and someone will call you and get details about where you are and how you'd like to be assisted.
All right. Yes. There's so many steps that go in after maybe somebody has experienced this ordeal right here, and not so many people are aware of these things. Information is not yet has not yet reached everyone.
Exactly.
So maybe you can share with them what are some of the first steps you take before you text to the hotline.
Okay, we normally have community sensitization. We have forums with the community in our area of implementation, that is Mukuru, whereby we tell them on the we try and tell them about the SMS platform in case of sexual and gender-based violence, the procedures that they need to take, and the steps that they need to follow. Yeah.
Right.
So we also have the case managers on the ground who are monitoring the SMS platform, and we also have got this, the case managers and the system operators. So basically the system operators, they manage the SMS platform, and the case managers are the ones that we use for referral purposes. For
24 hours?
Yes.
All right. Mukuru, what happens in Mukuru again?
That's the area where we are implementing the project. The access to justice. Yes.
Mukuru is an informal settlement.
Yes.
In Nairobi.
Yes.
All right. So am I right to say you're focusing on the informal settlements in Nairobi?
I wouldn't say that really. It's only that we started there because there were so many cases which were being reported from that area, from our research. It was more spreading in Mukuru. So we said, as we spread out in enrolling in other parts of Nairobi and also the country, we wanted to first deal with Mukuru, where the problem was, in especially rape and domestic violence.
Rape and domestic violence.
Yes.
And defilement.
And defilement.
Yes.
All right. So there are two aspects in this. You get healthcare, and then you get access to justice.
Yes.
All right. So you
and counseling also.
And counseling as well.
Yes.
This is post now. All right. So counseling you can provide. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Health you can facilitate.
Yes.
Access to justice is what I'm interested in. Is it working for you guys?
Actually, it has. We've had out of almost 88 cases that we've already dealt with. 10, I would say, they've already gone to court and people have been persecuted, I would say. What we deal in, we always organize from time frequent legal clinics. We have lawyers who work on pro bono, and they also organize on how the judges these cases can get to the courts. And from there, now they, you know, when it gets to the court, now that will leave it to the court. So at least out of the cases, we can say 10% have already gone through the entire process, and the perpetrators have already been jailed.
All right.
Yes.
That is powerful, and that is amazing progress right there.
Yeah.
All right. But I like to challenge myself from time to time. I'm guessing this is a community-based thing.
Yeah.
And these crimes have to be committed by people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And such communities, so many people know each other. And somebody once said prevention is better than cure.
Exactly.
So I was thinking, what if we use this approach where we get all the men in this society together and try to, because some of them were not raised right, maybe, and a lot of things, and try to use these men right here to prevent these things from happening. Is it something viable?
Yeah, we are also using forums whereby we are involving the men in our discussions, because as you've said, it's better to prevent than to cure. So we also, because most of our survivors or the community, they do not know the forms of gender-based violence. Yeah, because, you know, even if you abuse someone, that is a form of gender-based violence. So we try and
abuse by mouth.
Yeah.
By saying something
Yes.
bad to them.
Yes.
That is violence.
That is violence.
Defamation is violence.
Defamation is violence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoa. You get to learn new things every day on Y in the Morning. Defamation is violence. Just abusing somebody by saying something nasty to them is violence. 22162 is the SMS line. Start with YM254. Don't forget to leave your name and where you're watching us from. Join in the conversation. Y254 channel is our handle on Twitter. Y254 is our handle on Facebook. So just keep your views, your comments, and your questions coming, because we have people to answer them today. Defamation is violence. All right. So this is one approach that you were using.
Yeah.
And yes, since you joined the organization, are you seeing any form of improvement?
Honestly, I would, because when we started the program, started early this year, and many people were afraid to come forth when they go through the violence. They didn't want to come forth and say, yes, I've been abused, yes, I've been raped. And since we started having the forums and encouraging people to come out and also report the perpetrators, we've seen increased cases every day. We get more calls. There are few challenges, though, that I would still say. In some of the cases, the victims don't want to report the perpetrators because they are family members. So that's one challenge that.
So it becomes complicated when family members are involved.
Yes.
Because some family members want to protect the other family member.
Especially in a case where it is a father, child, or father, husband, wife involved. Someone wants to protect either the husband or the husband wants to protect the wife. Because, you know, when we talk about gender-based violence, you only think of the woman. Sometimes men also go through gender-based violence and they don't want to report it. Number one is a man, because of the shame. You think you'll be more the stigma. That's the word. Stigma that will come with it. So men tend to sit on it and not report.
All right.
And another thing is we've also formed a network. We've established Survivors Network. Right now we have 35 survivors, whereby on a monthly basis we meet and they share some of the challenges. So in our network meeting, we're empowering them. We are offering economic empowerment. At the same time, we are also offering psychosocial support, because some of them have not healed through the sin that happened.
All right.
Yeah.
So psychosocial support.
Yes.
All right. You talked about defilement, and I understand you're passionate about the girl child, but the boy child is also going through a lot when it comes to defilement. We are living in a new age right now, and bad things happen to good boys. Is this another issue that you address?
For the boy child, we've not gotten any case from a young boy who has been defiled.
Not yet.
Not yet.
All right.
But I know they're happening in the country. Either they happen and people don't report, and sometimes the parents we have to blame, especially when it is a young boy. Parents are to blame because they don't want the stigma that will come with my son was sodomized. Or something happened to my son. So one thing I would encourage to everyone who is listening, if such cases happen, especially to the boy child, don't tell your son you're a big boys don't cry, or men are not supposed to show their weakness. Please report, because it's still violence, and this is the perpetrator need to be arrested and the right judgment taken upon them.
All right.
Yes.
Powerful. So you have the continental. What is it called? The continental intervention. You have the regional intervention, and then the national intervention. So maybe you can break it down for us. Maybe you can handle the continental, you handle the other, and then the other. Yeah.
Okay.
So we can start with the continental intervention first before we narrow down to the national.
Okay, I can take on the continental.
Yeah, sure thing.
Okay, for the continental, how Africa Youth Trust works is we're in many different, in the continent, we work in blocks. There's the ESC, there's the IGAD, there's the SADC and such. So we work within those blocks. For any policy, because as AYT, we can't push a policy to other governments. So we work within networks. Within the East Africa, we have a youth network which is called East Africa Youth Network, and which works closely with the East Africa community, the Yala, especially the Yala. So if we have any policy that we want to pass, for example, about the youth or the child, we'll work through the Yala, the East Africa Youth Network, to push it to Yala. The same with the continent. Within the SADC, the same, because we have our network spread out to the southern part of it. So if there's a policy, there are cases where we feel that we need to intervene. We work through those blocks, the networks that we have. Now,
so the continental and national interventions are more about policy.
Yeah. Policies.
And then the national one is where you deal with real issues.
We'll deal with the real issues.
All right.
Yeah.
And then we also involve the county government when we want to push for a policy, like the duty bearers in our areas of implementation. Like last month, we had a duty forum. We also have another project called Young Urban Women, and we're involving we implement it in Nairobi and Mombasa, and we involve the duty bearers in Mombasa, so that at least we can push for some of the policies like gender responsive public services and sexual reproductive health rights.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So to deal with things like this ones, you need to involve the I'm sorry to say, but the politicians, obviously.
Exactly.
Because they're the legislators.
Yes.
All right. So are they helping, per se, and how do you engage them in this?
Actually, I really want to congratulate our politicians, or the few that we've engaged. It's only that out there we always say they don't work, but I say it's their approach. Don't go with placards, go with a negotiation. That's how it has been, the approach that we use. For example, in Mombasa,
it's a diplomatic way to do it.
It's a diplomatic way to do it, because you have to say, talk sense and let someone know, try and explain and put sense in them. In Mombasa, like she mentioned, the Young Urban Women, which is a program we target girls between 15 years and 29 years. We try to create a platform for them to advocate for their needs in the society, and we also do it in the non-formal settlements within Nairobi and Mombasa. We work closely with the MCAs, and especially Mombasa and the MCA in Majengo. Thank you so much. They've been very supportive. The girls put across their needs, which were one was water and security lights, and currently we have them. They've been put in place. They have water in Mombasa. In Majengo, they wanted a security light, and it's already there because there were so many cases of rape and also violence, being beaten, mugged at night because lack of the security lights. But when they went to the area MCA and they pushed that matter, within a few weeks the security light was there.
All right.
Yes.
So this is among the very few times I hear somebody commending politicians, our Kenyan politicians. It seems they are very passionate about our social lives. The rest of the things I'm not so sure, but it seems they're very passionate about our social lives. And another thing I'd like to know, as an organization, all these things require funding.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes, you need a lot of funds to operate, from the text line to the counseling,
Yes.
all the way, these things in between. How do you manage to run operations at this?
For the two programs that we've mentioned, we are supported by Action Aid Kenya, and they've really worked with us a lot, and they've been saying that we have enough funds for the legal clinics, especially for the gender-based violence victims. We have legal clinics, paying for the medical bills, and also making sure that we have at least the forums, facilitating the forums. But one thing I would say, with one organization, it can never be enough. We need more, because currently we're only working in Nairobi, and as Winnie, maybe she will explain that, we work in Mukuru only, but we would want to spread out to the rest of the counties in Kenya. And the money, we need money, require money to do that. Action Aid alone cannot do it.
Action Aid alone cannot do it.
Cannot do it.
All right, is
That's
it
why we
open
need-
for any Kenyan who's willing to donate something to?
It's open.
Yes,
it's open. How
It's
can they
open.
get to do that?
They can reach us on our email, info@africayouthtrust.org. They can also reach us, or they can go to our website. All our details are there, phone numbers, and our email address.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So this is more of opinion, or maybe you can use facts to answer my question. What do you think is the reason for the rising in cases of rape and maybe defilement? Is it that we are losing our morals as Africans, or is it drugs? People blame it on drugs sometimes. What do you think could be the reason? You can use your own personal opinion to answer my question, or you can use your facts from research that you have done as an organization.
Okay, what I can say, most of our girls and women who are, you see the project we're implementing in the informal settlement of Nairobi, and you find that most of our women and girls, they are not economically empowered. They depend so much on their men, and the men have got powers over them. So it means that they have to follow whatever men are, their male partners are telling them. So if they don't follow, then cases of abuses come into, and we are also living in a patriarchal society whereby men they have powers to decide.
It's man's work.
Yeah. So we are trying to empower these girls. That's why in my statement I say that we have survivors network meeting whereby we are trying to empower them economically so that you can be financially stable. Because an empowered woman, you have a voice in the society. And if you are not empowered economically, you'll find that cases of gender-based violence will be rampant. Yeah.
So empowerment entails economic stability, financial freedom, and information.
Yes.
Because most of the girls, you find that when cases of gender-based violence that is domestic, some of them, they don't want to leave the husband, and you find that that's why the case, when it comes to legal aspect, it will not go further. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for your views, and thank you very much for what you're doing for the culture.
Thank you.
But out of this conversation, what has really stood up for me is the application of technology and the simplest form of this technology, where you use the text line, where the survivors, I hear they're not called victims, yes, the survivors can get help. So let's maybe talk more about this text line, because I'm pretty sure people might need it out there sometime in future. People might need help. So you can tell us the text line again.
The test line is 21094.
21094. That
Yeah,
is
21094. You text help, and then the system operators will respond to you. They will call you back and find out what kind of assistance you need. And then after that, you'll be referred to the system operator now will refer you to the case manager to handle that situation, because now the case managers are the ones on the ground. Yes, so they follow up.
The case managers follow up, and they get to give you some help.
Yeah, some help when it comes, because when gender-based violence happens, the first step is medical.
Medical?
Yes. You have to be referred to the to a clinic or a dispensary or a health facility whereby you can get medical assistance. Because if it's rape, you don't know that the perpetrator, the HIV status, and you need to be given...
Or other forms of sexually transmitted diseases,
pregnancy, STIs, HIV. Yeah, so you need to seek medication within 72 hours. Yeah, that is the major priority.
The priority is health first.
Health first.
Then justice, then counseling.
And counseling. So counseling will go hand in hand in medical and legal.
They go
because this person has been traumatized, especially rape and defilement. You find that the person has been traumatized and needs to be counseled.
A case that I've heard where a lady went to report to a police station about being raped, being violated, and the type of questions she was getting from this policeman were very demeaning. And it really added to the depression that she already had. So when reporting, is the survivor accompanied?
Yeah, that's why in my initial statement I said we have the case managers who are accompanying the survivors in all those services, whether medical or legal. Yeah.
So they always have somebody by their side.
By their side. Yes. And we've also tried to sensitize the police officers. We've tried to train them on how to handle cases of gender-based violence so that they don't cause more harm to the survivors.
Right.
Yes.
And maybe if I can add on something, for us we always recommend first go to a hospital, then tell the hospital what has happened to you. From there they'll call the police, because most of the hospitals know what to do. So the first step is call hospital, go to hospital, they will inform the police. Then from there the police will follow up. And when you know after you've gone to hospital, there's already someone who's with you. So some of the questions they'll be able to answer for you, not you answering directly. Because you're already traumatized, and maybe you don't want anyone to talk about it. So the first step is hospital, police, then the psychological counseling is in between all those processes, then the legal part where we link you to legal advisors.
Thank you very much again. The text line and the social media platforms before we can wrap this up.
On Facebook, we are Africa Youth Trust. At Instagram also, africayouthtrust.org. And on Instagram, Africa Youth Trust _org.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And I urge you to keep working with the men.
Thank you.
Yes, because most of us love our sisters, we love our mothers, we love our daughters. So keep working with the positive men, because I think we are willing and ready to protect our queens and our women.
All right.
And thank you very much for what you're doing to the society.
Thank you very much.
All right. This has been another segment of Queens Wednesday, and we had powerful queens who are from the Africa Youth Trust, and they're doing amazing things for the girl child, to and for the girl child. So 22162 is still the SMS line. Start with YM254. Don't forget to leave your name and where you're watching us from. I'm your host, Barry Moses. It's Barry Moore on social media, or Passy Boy. Yes, so Hilda Watiti and Kalami Val will be coming back with tomorrow in the morning, so don't go nowhere.